You know what the worst habit a person can have is? Saying voila instead of voila.
Especially when they spell it.
I hate it so much.
W-A-L-L.
God damn it. It's not that complicated. It's just voila. It's exactly how it looks.
People don't know how it's spelled. People spell it W-A-L-L-A.
Damn it. Yeah. It's just so horrible.
What brought this on?
It's just been bugging me. It always bugs me. Anytime I hear it, people at work do it, I want to punch them all. Like, if you say fucking voila one more time. But God.
Voila.
God. Like, if you want to be fancy, maybe get the goddamn word right. Welcome once again to Noah's Snark, where two former religious types and current snarks take a look at religious media on its own terms.
I'm Hillary.
And I am Josh, aka, Hey, Jude!
Dork. I like it.
And before we begin, as always, do we have any hits and misses from last time? Our 7th Heaven episode? Did you miss anything? Or hit anything you really wanted to get back on?
Well, I mistakenly called that turn thing a hymn instead of a psalm, but then I corrected it later, so no, okay. I have nothing.
Yeah, I don't have anything. Just to acknowledge that we didn't have a ton to say about the big Stephen Collins possible pedophile thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
But it's largely because we didn't do enough research about it to really be able to say anything of relevance.
Right.
So we just...
I could not speak on that
so
as
we
an
just
expert.
Didn't bother with it. It doesn't really change the show as it is.
Right.
Just might change some of the context around it, but again, we don't know anything.
I'm pretty sure that most of that stuff happened... Again, I'm not an expert. I did not do much research, but what I did read, it seemed like all that younger woman thing happened when he was younger. Like, before 7th Heaven.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I
still haven't looked into it since.
Me neither.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not too bad.
Write in and tell us.
Write in and tell us if it's really, really bad. So, Hillary, it's a big day. What are we doing today?
Fucking God's Not Dead 3!
We're closing the loop and the trilogy is over!
I forgot what it's actually called, because it's not called God's Not Dead 3.
God's Not Dead.
Light in the Darkness.
That's right.
I did remember, as I said that.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we're up to today, and it is finally here. We initially intended to do the 3 of them in a row. That didn't work the way I expected, because I thought the movie would be out on video sooner.
Yeah.
It clearly was not.
Nope.
It's been like 2 months, but we're here. It just came out last Tuesday.
We put this all behind us.
When this releases, right. Mm-hmm. It just came out yesterday. We're recording today.
It came out yesterday?
Tuesday,
okay.
2 days ago. But yeah, so we got on it as quickly as we could.
Yeah.
And
I don't think anyone's mad at us.
Yeah. And what are we in for today?
Well, it's the best of the series.
It is.
They actually make arguments for both sides.
Was it the kind of refreshing I told you it might be?
Yeah, it totally was.
It was a little bit of a surprise, right?
It really was. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's be clear, it's not a good movie.
No, but I mean, comparatively, it's great.
But comparatively, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and they actually got a real actor. John Corbett's in it.
John Corbett's in it.
I like John Corbett.
Mm-hmm. I liked him in this movie.
I liked him in everything.
Generally?
Yeah. He was the best boyfriend for Carrie Bradshaw.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'll take your word on it.
Sex in the City.
I know that part. I just don't...
Oh.
I don't know his...
He was Aiden. He had a dog.
Cool. Well, if you have a dog, you're the best.
Exactly.
That's just facts.
True.
That's why I know I'm the worst, because I have 2 cats!
And I'm down to 1 dog.
Aw.
Aw.
That's not good.
No.
But yeah, this movie is... It's refreshing in a way that one would not have expected, especially having seen the previous movies and the in-credit scene for the second movie.
Right.
Because we didn't really talk about this on the episode last week. I guess I forgot to do a quick summary of it. Pastor Dave, who's been told to turn in his sermons to the government, refused to do so in the course of the second movie. At the mid-credits scene, he was then arrested for that refusal and held in contempt of court.
Right.
And the setup for the movie makes
Some would
it seem...
say persecuted.
Right. And the setup for that scene would make it seem like the third movie is going to be about that case.
Right.
And whether or not pastors can be forced to give their sermons, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some big other court case or some issue, and he's...
Thankfully, that was not the plot to this
not
movie.
at all what happened in this movie.
Granted, it is the third in the series, and the third with a plot line that is easily fixable and not actually a problem, which we'll get to.
Yeah, but it's not an absurd...
It's not that absurd. It's just absurd.
Right. It's regular absurd.
Regular absurd.
In the same way that fiction is often absurd because, like, people aren't cyborgs, or computer chip can't take control of your body and make you a ninja.
Well, don't think we can compare it to those, because nobody expects those to be honest and realistic, and it's not brainwashing people to believe they're cyborgs.
Yeah, that's true. But theoretically, it's all technically, maybe not technically, it all falls within a realm of stretching the truth. Mm-hmm. That's a little more viable than any of these have been so far.
Yes.
So let's just get to it, because we're talking a lot around it. But let's just start.
Okay.
The very first scene. Embers float through a dark screen as a woman tells us sometimes all it takes is a spark. And that spark ignites a flame that is so overwhelming it overpowers everything around it. And now we're talking about the mid-credit scene from God's Not Dead 2, the setup for this movie. They go through that really quickly. Mm-hmm. Pastor Dave has been arrested. He has to turn in his sermons, but now he's held in contempt of court. And it's really quick news stories, and then he's released from prison, and the entire setup for that movie is over.
Yep, that's it. That's all we hear from this.
He went to prison for a couple of days.
Yeah.
It looks like he got released. It's over.
Yeah.
The conflict is over. And I was like, the first time I saw this, because this is my second time, I saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, what? I was like, that's crazy. What just happened? What is this movie going to be about? I was relieved, though, because that movie sounded terrible.
Yeah, that would have been horrible.
And I was like, they must be building up to something even crazier if they skip that part. No. So I have to say, before we really get too far into it, this movie was less enjoyable for me because it wasn't so over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because I went in expecting it to be...
It was actually kind of good.
Yeah, like it's a real movie.
Yeah, the dialogue in this sounded like real people.
Yeah. So it was just... I remember watching it the first time and being like, oh, well, I didn't enjoy that nearly as much. But it also is because it's not as bad.
Right.
It's just not as bad.
You're expecting a terrible B-movie.
And I was really looking forward to it.
Right.
And it was better than that. And I was like, God damn it. Why's it gotta be just okay?
No, I got that.
The setup for this movie comes a little bit quickly because when he's being interviewed about his contempt of court case, Pastor Dave says that it's a human rights issue and that Jesus is the one truth. And then a news guy who has clearly never appeared on any newscast says, what if a rabbi or a Muslim had said this? And his very reasonable co-host says, well, yeah, duh, you can say whatever you want. But the guy who was making the other argument says that Pastor Dave only has this ability inside places of worship, and the school where his chapel is a state university. Mm-hmm. So that's really where the crux of this story is going to be. A bunch of people protesting the chapel in the first place. Another thing, like we've said, that's so absurd that it's completely unbelievable is happening.
Yeah.
As I wrote here, quoting Lucky Number 11, it's so absurd that the Virgin Mary herself could appear before me, titties hanging out and everything, and tell me it was true, and I still couldn't believe it. I love that movie.
I haven't seen that in so long. Josh Hartnett was one of my longest running crushes.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You still
love him.
He was in, what's that show?
Penny Dreadful.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
I did. I didn't finish it. I watched it.
It's not worth finishing.
No, it got kind of boring.
It was boring from the start, honestly.
Yeah.
I put through the first season, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need the rest.
I wanted so much more. I loved the dark macabre, but it was boring.
So boring.
Yeah.
But still, I'm glad he's getting work still.
Me too.
So to clarify the point about whether or not this even seems like it's the realm of possibility, I jumped forward to the end credits. Because usually in these credits they put, this movie was inspired by events like these, right?
Right.
There's none of that.
Right.
They don't even bother saying...
This would never happen.
Because this would never happen. Every campus has a chapel.
Yeah.
And I guess the only difference is this one seems to be just a Christian church instead of a interfaith thing.
Right, but also, they say multiple times, the church has been there longer than the school.
Yeah.
it's clearly a historical church. It should be protected under historical building association. And if the problem is that the state school funds something or something, just...
Fund something else.
Right. Just don't...
Or don't fund it.
Like, that church can still exist without being associated with the school.
Yeah, I know.
The whole premise is so stupid. It's so dumb.
I went to a private Christian college.
Yeah.
And we had a chapel. It was used for Catholic stuff, Protestant stuff, and any other stuff you might want. And if you were a Muslim or a Hindu or a Sikh, you could use the same chapel for your own events. Because
that's cool.
The way you solve this problem, quote-unquote problem, is just split the money you give to the church amongst anyone who wants.
Right.
Like, oh, you have a religious organization? Here's your part of this money.
Yeah.
Do what you want. I don't care.
David A.R. White once again, creates a problem that doesn't exist to make people feel like there is a problem.
And is easily solved.
Yes.
It's very easily solved.
If it were a problem at all, which it wouldn't be, it's an easily solvable one that does not require your lawyer brother to come home. Yeah. Or whatever. Because
if the argument in the movie later, someone says it's funding. This church gets funded and no other faith organization does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then don't fund it.
Then don't fund it. Or split the funds.
Right.
There's multiple solutions.
So many solutions.
And they're all easy.
You definitely don't need to, knock down a 150-year-old building.
Right.
Ugh.
Whatever. But he's trying to get his shit together. And this is the point of the movie. And at least we don't have to sit through another idiotic court case like we did in the last movie. Yes. So I'm a little bit happy about it.
Me too.
So Pastor Dave and his best friend, who's black, are headed to a homeless shelter, and Dave's African friend tells him that he needs to go for it with the woman who runs the place.
Go for it.
And Dave is like, what you talking about? And friend is all like, she wants the D, bro, and X gonna give it to her. This is not how they talk, but whatever.
I'm fine with it. I'd prefer exhibit.
Dave is very awkward about it, and he blows him off. And they arrive at the shelter, and the woman they were talking about wants him. And is immediately flirty, and even has a pet name for him. Convict. She says, hey, convict.
Cute.
She gives him a special lunch to take for himself that she made with the food they bring. And once in the car, he opens it up to reveal that it has a note that reads, always had a weakness for bad boys. Heart. M. Her name is Meg. His friend is like, see, I told you. You should do it. And he's embarrassed and they drive away. It's vaguely cute, I guess.
I guess. I don't care. I don't want him to find happiness.
Yeah. Back on campus, his chapel is still being protested for no reason. And he complains that they didn't used to need armed security to protect them from the same people they were supposed to be ministering to. And we now see Dave at service, which is a packed room, by the way. So the claim from the first movie, that no students in a class of 80 would go to the church at all, is demonstrated as false.
Right. It was false then. Now it's proven to be false.
And now it's proved to be false because people come to this church constantly.
Yeah.
It's the same college, the same guy, the same location. They haven't suddenly had an uptick in Christian students. No. I guarantee. So, it was always... I'm still harping on that one point. It bothered me.
No, because he's a liar.
He's a liar. Fuck you, Josh.
Ugh.
But we'll see you again.
Josh Wheaton.
So, in front of his congregation, he introduces his African friend as Jude, and he's going to be the new co-pastor.
The same African friend that's been there this whole time.
Yeah, the same guy. Now he finally has a name, which is why, hey, it's Jude.
Yeah.
But then...
You're right, they never gave him his name the other two movies.
Did not know his name. So this man finally has a name, and it's a little bit of character development, even if it is just a name. And we all know what happens when characters without much personality or backstory finally get a moment in the spotlight, right?
Dead.
Oh no, Jude. I'm
Bye,
so
Jude.
sorry. You are a leaf on the wind, Jude.
Okay, Jude. Bye, Jude.
As Dave and Jude walk back to the car that night, they exchange how much they love each other when the alarm goes off inside the church and a window breaking is heard. Dave chases off the vandal and Jude goes inside to turn the alarm off, but there's a gas leak because the brick that came through the window has busted the main line. Mm-hmm. So he turns the light on and the building explodes, setting a fire, knocking him unconscious, and he hits his head really bad. So Pastor Dave runs inside to rescue him, but he immediately realizes that his head is bleeding very badly. But he still drags his drags him out of the building.
Right. Asking God for help.
He does. God, help me get this. Which is, I guess if you're a religious guy, it makes some sense.
I don't know. My first thought would be like, God, why did you do this?
That was more my point.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God, help me get this. I'm just going to carry my friend's corpse out of the building.
Yeah.
I was like, if he's burned up, it doesn't make a difference.
I wish he had helped before when the brick hit the gas line.
Right. And he didn't turn the light on or cause an explosion.
Yeah. It's okay.
Or at least just cause a fire that doesn't cause an explosion first that knocks him off of his feet.
Anything.
And breaks his skull.
Do anything, God.
Anything besides what you've done here.
Yeah.
But once they're outside, Jude gets some last words out in Swahili and then dies anyway. Much powerful. Very sad. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yep, heart-wrenching.
Heart-wrenching. We now transition to student Keaton and her boyfriend, Adam. Keaton's struggling with her faith, and Adam has completely given up on his. And with their college kid friends, they argue about the Mandela effect. And whether the Mandela effect proves that there are multiple realities. And good lord, I was just like, both times I've had this conversation, I was like, I just want to stop all these kids.
I can't hang out with 20-somethings.
Did you, because Kit Kat doesn't have a hyphen in it, that means that we have multiple realities and we mashed up against, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, I wish they were showing them smoking pot.
Right.
So that there was an explanation for this stupid conversation.
Curious George used to have a tail, and now he doesn't. No, he didn't.
He never had
You
a
just
tail.
remember this incorrectly.
Right, the Mandela effect.
Yes, being wrong. It's not a quantum
doesn't
physics
make it
mystery.
Magic.
Right.
It makes you wrong.
It makes you wrong. Just be wrong. I thought Berenstain Bears was spelled
Everyone
with
did.
an E.
Yeah, me too.
But it's not, and I'm okay with that.
That one really roughed me up.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
I read
Stain?
all of those books. I loved them.
Right. But it was Berenstain for me.
It was Bernstein for me.
Oh. Spelled the same way, though? S-T-E-I-N?
In my head was E-I-N, yeah.
We just pronounced it different.
Right.
But it was still the same thing. But it's Stain. And I was like, oh!
Yeah.
My heart!
I don't even know what my childhood was.
But this ties back into the conflict of the movie. Because the guy who's the major advocate for the multiverse choice says that if he's forced to choose between Pastor Dave poisoning the campus with his one truth or a multiverse, he's going to choose the multiverse. And Keaton leaves the room because he's annoying and a moron.
Yep.
And Adam follows her out, and they sort of argue a little bit because she says he was picking on her for her beliefs, and he kind of was.
Kind of. Also, this, as annoying as this entire conversation was, it rang true for college students.
Yeah.
I felt like I've been a part of that stupid-ass conversation before.
100%. I've had many stupid conversations.
Yeah.
She's upset because Adam was participating in sort of making fun of the Jesus is the one true Lord, and she sort of believes it, and she didn't want to be picked on. And he was like, I wasn't picking on you. And he's like, yeah, you were.
She seemed mostly upset because he, mentioned that she had been questioning her faith. Mm-hmm. That's when she got mad. But you were.
Yeah, so she's being a little unreasonable.
Yeah.
But also she was kind of 3 against 1 in a circumstance she wasn't comfortable in, so yeah.
Yeah, no, she has the right to leave.
But she wants some space to herself, and she breaks up with him because she wants to sort out her faith issues by herself without, I don't know.
Cool.
Being subjected to him all the time, I guess.
That sounds fine.
Yeah. He gets very upset about this, of course, and he heads off to a party where he drinks his sadness away. Or tries to. While he's doing that, Keaton is off at church, and holy shit, Josh Whedon from the first movie is back. Mm-hmm. And he runs the Harbor House.
He looks exactly like Adam.
They are the same guy.
I thought they were the same person for a second.
Wait a second. Who's this? Oh, right.
They're the same boy.
But he runs a thing called the Harbor House inside the church. And it's some sort of thing he does. He's a
youth minister?
Youth minister of some sort, it seems.
Is it the same actor?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Again, I can't... all the brunette white boys look exactly this. They have the same haircut, wear the same clothes.
But Josh and Keaton flirt a little bit. I think so, right?
Probably.
About how she hasn't been coming by lately because apparently he's given up on Aisha, the girl that he picked up in the first movie. Come on, man.
He did not pick up on her. She was into him. He did not.
That's true. We never really know if he was into it.
He was not into it.
But how could he not be?
I'm guessing brown.
That could be it. He has a type. It's
not brown.
Keaton's a little bit brown, and guess what? They never get together.
Racist.
You might be onto something.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's fine.
Keaton's now ex-boyfriend, Adam, is walking home from the party he was at, and he passes by the campus chapel, and he gets upset, and he spray paints an X onto the big sign for the place.
Yeah, very creative.
And then he takes a brick and he throws it through the basement, because this is a flashback, and this is the guy who accidentally torched the building and killed Jude.
Mm-hmm. Now we know.
Mystery
solved.
Mystery solved. But it's not the end.
Damn it.
Wouldn't it be nice if it was just 30 minutes?
There you go.
Whoops.
It's mystery solved. Okay, bye.
The next morning, we get to see another newscast. There is a lot of newscasting in this movie. This movie is like 40% news.
And written by somebody who doesn't know how news works.
At all.
No.
But he sees a newscast about the incident, and he's shell-shocked to find out that he homicided a person, and the police are treating the incident as a hate crime. He did not expect nor intend to kill a guy.
Right.
But he did. And like Robert Paulson before him, in death, Jude now has a name. Mm-hmm. Jude. His name was Jude Mabaya. His name was Jude Mabaya. The college board, after the fire and everything that happened, argues about whether having the chapel on campus invites this kind of violence, and if it should just be shut down entirely.
Answer is no.
Right. The obvious, easy answer.
Right.
But a personal friend of the pastor, the president of the university, is forced against his will to tell Dave that they're going to shut down the chapel.
Yep, because that's the only solution.
That's just... It's
what
like...
else? Their hands are tied.
A bad thing happened, and...
Somebody attacked you. You are wrong.
Right, we should kick you off the campus.
You can't be here anymore in case somebody else attacks.
Yeah, it's not at all how you handle
Illogical.
that. But people do it all the time.
Illogic?
Yeah, and people do that all the time. Like, oh, something bad happened. I guess you gotta get out of here. Be like, that's not how that fucking works.
You mean like the way women are treated?
Yeah, 100%.
You're gonna get raped, so we're gonna cover you in a sheet.
Mm-hmm. At the funeral for Jude, Dave talks to his parents, and he asks them about Jude's last words. And his mom translated as, always God is good, and God is good always. Which is...
Sounds familiar.
A Swahili version of their stupid little catchphrase, which I'm very glad I don't have to hear 80 times in this movie.
No.
It comes up like once.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's fine.
But it came up early. I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Right. Okay, so I guess it comes up twice.
Yeah.
On a different day, whatever day it is, while doing his running, Dave has to stop and cry because he's very upset, which is fair. His best friend did just get... Murdered. Or at least homicided. Depending on how you just...
Blowed up.
Blowed the fuck up. On Saturday, as he does every week, he goes back to the homeless shelter, where Meg shows him some sympathy and tells him to call her if he needs anything. The president of the university, and friend of Dave, now comes by to tell him the plan to shut down the chapel. But he's sorry that there's nothing he can really do about it. It's out of his hands. It's the bad thing with boards. You got outvoted, son.
Yep.
President don't mean shit. Okay.
He just gets paid more.
He just gets paid better. The church folks discuss the issue, and Josh Wheaton tells them that despite them owning the land, they are being forced out through eminent domain, and the university can essentially force them to sell the land.
I don't know anything about...
I don't either, but it's...
real estate law.
It's reasonably...
Sounds real.
Yeah, it's a real thing. I don't know if it's true that universities can just do that to whatever is inside.
Right, but, especially a 150-year-old church that was there before the university.
Right, but it's believable-ish. It's the fact that people have a problem with it in the first place that's unbelievable.
All of it's so stupid.
This one part of it is not the point. Mm-mm. Pastor Dave has mostly given up on his will to fight. And Josh convinces him that despite the fact that it's not easy, it is very simple, and he should fight the university's decision. So, this motivates Dave to go find the only real actor in this entire movie.
In the series, the entire series.
That's true. And he reunites with his brother, Pierce, who is a lawyer. Mm-hmm. They haven't seen or spoken to each other in a few years, but he's a very good attorney, and he can help him fight the university's decision. This is...
Handsome John Corbett.
He's so handsome.
He's so handsome.
He's a good actor.
I had a big old crush on him, too, at some point.
That's fair. Mm-hmm. But he's a good actor, too.
He is a good actor.
The only person who really does any good acting in this movie is him.
Yeah, he actually has some comedic moments.
He's got some chops.
Yeah.
And it's almost like
he brought some levity to this fucking painful...
But he also brought some drama.
Yeah,
in a way that was like...
Legit. Yeah, I'm on his side.
You always should be. John Corbett's always right.
What would John Corbett do?
There you go.
That'll be my WWJCD. His initials are JC.
They are.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
What would John Corbett do?
The suit, or the choice of Pastor Dave to fight the university is going to make things harder for them. And so they consider and talk about making a better offer for him, since he's not going to give up without a fight. While this is going on, Adam confesses to Keaton that he is responsible for the fire, and he considers turning himself in. And she mostly just supports him because he obviously didn't mean to blow up an entire building and kill a guy.
Right. She's reasonable about it, which is good.
Dave's brother, Pierce, and Dave talk about Dave's faith. And if he still prays for his brother and like, you wish I'll find myself back to the light. But Pierce is quite happy being an atheist. Thanks.
Yes.
he's perfectly satisfied. And you know what? I have to give this movie some credit for not really pressing the issue.
Yeah.
Because in any other one of these movies that we've seen so far, and probably anyone we're going to see in the future, he comes around at the end.
Yeah.
And
he comes around at the end, or like he's evil.
or he's evil.
Yeah,
in this movie,
is the first movie that we've seen where an atheist is not like the worst human being or a sociopath.
Yeah, he's just, I don't believe this stuff.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, and then like they have some real conversations.
Uh-huh. But it never comes down to the, oh, well, I was so inspired by your thing that now I'm on...
It turns out I was just mad at God.
Yeah, it's like, no, I just don't believe this stuff.
Yeah.
Whoops. Don't care.
Loved it.
Loved it. As they're talking about this faith issue, Josh comes in and warns them that a construction crew is about to demolish the church. So they head down there in a hurry and they interrupt. The foreman of the construction crew threatens to call the police on them, but Pierce points out that he's already done that. And if he destroys the church before he gets back, he's going to jail for destruction of property. Mm-hmm. So he makes some phone calls, lawyer style, while he's driving around, in a hurry.
Yeah.
Because he's looking for a sympathetic judge that he can get to sign an injunction. And while he's doing that, Dave is stalling by reading the Bible. Literally, page 1.
Yeah, filibuster.
Just filibuster style. Which they say in the movie.
Yeah, they do.
Which can only be described as a Senate filibuster. It's not the only way to describe it. You could just say regular filibuster.
Yeah.
Or stall. Or Sermon on the Mount. Oh, that's the thing
that's
you could
what I was
say.
expecting them to call it, actually.
Yeah, that's what I would have called it.
Yeah.
Because he's sermoning.
Sermon on the Mount.
Whatever.
Yeah, he's on
and
stairs.
And it's a mountain of
He's
his ruined church.
He's standing on stairs, so he's high up there.
That's okay. This is all happening on Sunday, so Pierce has to find the judge in her own church. And he gets there and it's really funny. He's like, I really need to talk to you. And she's like, I'm at mass right now. What are you doing? He's like, it's important. It's about a church. And she's like, okay, tell me more. But
very charming.
He is very charming. He's John Corbett.
I know.
He was the best one for Carrie.
It's true.
It's the charm and
Fight
the dog.
me.
That's right. We will go to war. Mr.
The truth
Big
is, he was the best for her, but she was not good for him. So he did not deserve She did not deserve
him.
She didn't deserve him. He didn't deserve to be treated like garbage.
That's fair. I don't know anything about this, so I'm gonna take your word for it.
I love that show.
That's fair. I've seen the movie.
The movie's awful.
And a few of the episodes.
Both of the movies were awful.
My ex was really into Sex and the City.
Yeah.
So I got her the complete box set.
I have that.
As
the
a
pink
gift
one?
Yeah, the big pink one.
I have that.
And so she watched a lot, so I caught very occasional bits of it.
Yeah.
And I watched the whole movie with her once, but I don't remember anything of it.
There's no reason to.
So that's all I know about Sex and the City. He gets the injunction he wanted. He shows up back at the church, and one of the police guys, he says, You've just earned you and your brother a night in jail for this. And he goes, I don't think so. Look at this.
Yep.
And it's a cease and desist, and the cop's like, all right, I guess you win. And everyone leaves. So he's bought them 3 weeks, he says. And another newscast shows people arguing about whether the church should just be moved off campus. Because, like we said earlier, it gets funding to the exclusion of any other religion.
Right.
But I also wrote down here, which to be fair, is a relatively good point, but it's easily solved by splitting up the funds. Duh.
Yeah. Easily solved.
The church gets $10,000 a month.
Right.
Okay, well now we have anybody who wants it gets the pool.
Yeah.
Just here you go. Muslims, Hindus.
Either stop funding completely.
Yeah.
Let it be its own thing, because that's what churches are anyway, usually.
But it is a cultural thing.
Yeah.
So it makes some sense to put money into it. Mm-hmm. It's just not exclusive to these guys.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
It's not. Why is this movie still going?
Pierce calls Dave out for his and other Christians' personal persecution complex, which is typically fair, but in the context of this movie is actually really happening. like, it's a very fair point to make, and I'm glad that at least the script acknowledges, like, you just always want to be persecuted. Someone's always after you.
Yeah, they actually pointed out. Like, John Corbett calls him out for, like, the persecution complex, which I love.
But in the framework of what's happening, it's not quite what's happening.
Oh, right.
He is, in fact, being kicked out of his land for not a good reason.
Right.
So... But at least
That's a good point.
At least someone is able to call out the fact that, like, just always want to be a victim. And this leads me to believe that something happened with David A.R. White. Because we know he's a producer, he might be a writer, he might have even been the director of this movie.
He was the director.
Okay.
I looked it up.
But he's like a producer, right?
I actually don't remember now. I'm curious.
Yeah,
He has to be a producer.
Yeah, there's no way I believe he's not.
Yeah. What's your guess? Do you have a guess as to what could have happened to him to make this?
I don't know. Maybe he's just upset about... It's almost like he got a small touch of reasonableness put into him.
Yeah.
Because putting that persecution line doesn't have to be in this movie. Especially because, like I said, in the movie it's not really that fair.
Right. It seems like, honestly, I just assumed it was written by somebody else.
It might have been, but he would have final say, and it's his scene.
True.
If he's like, no! Get this out of this movie!
Let's see. Produced? Yeah, he's the producer.
Okay.
With, like,
A bunch
6
of
other people.
Yeah. But he's a producer. He's got some major say. He's the star and the producer, so it's relevant what he thinks. He didn't have to include that, but I think, I don't know, maybe it's Trump's America that has him all weirded out, or...
What year did this get made? No, 2018, right. Okay.
Yeah, this came out this year.
Right.
But I just have to think...
But it had to have been written before Trump got president.
It might have been redone.
Before he got president. That's a way to say it.
Because they didn't even announce this movie until... They announced the film was going to happen on October 27th of 2016. The election was 2 weeks away. Less than 2 weeks away. Which means they were leading up to it when they were thinking about making another one or something.
Uh-huh.
And then, obviously, I don't know. I'm just speculating. Mm-hmm. But something's clearly happened to make him realize...
This is a hard left.
This is a hard turn.
Yeah, compared to the other two.
So, I don't know what it was, but something clearly happened, and he got just a little nugget of reasonableness put into him. Because they are calling themselves out, essentially, for the previous two movies.
You're right.
And this is not the last time it's going to happen. This is just one example. We're going to continue. But after he and Pierce have this conversation about the persecution complex that's been rampant through this series so far, Keaton checks in with Pastor Dave about what's going to happen to the person who burned the place down. And Dave says that he hopes that they get put away for a really long time. And Pierce does lawyer stuff, while Dave finally goes on kind of a date with Meg from the homeless shelter. And he explains how Pierce was always so cool, but he eventually lost his faith, which was really hard on their parents, because their dad was a pastor as well.
Right.
For the same church.
Yeah.
Yeah. In front of the entire board, Dave and Pierce argue their case, and that they are not here for settlement, but they want to own their church again. And it was one thing, it was one issue, until they brought a demolition crew to tear down the whole place. And so now they deliver an ultimatum. Withdraw their claim of eminent domain, or they're going to sue. Very simple.
Fair.
This ends the meeting, as it's expected, and Pierce and Dave discuss their new strategy of changing the media conversation. So Dave is now going on to the same newscast that we've been watching the whole movie, and Dana fucking Loesch is one of our heroic media personalities.
Is that a person?
She is a spokesperson for the NRA. And
Amazing.
And a generally horrible person.
Yeah, you'd have to be.
Not just for her NRA spokespersonhood. She's just horrible generally.
Yeah.
It's just that she also has that extra bad. Right. I'm a piece of shit.
She needed more bad for her resume.
Right.
Also, one of the women on the school board is Tatum O'Neal. Mm-hmm. Which is, she just got wedged in there for some reason. Mm-hmm. It only has like 3 lines or something. Yeah. Why is she in this movie?
Don't know. I had the same. I was like,
what a weird get.
Yeah, it's strange. We got her!
Yeah.
You get 4 lines. Oh, okay, cool.
Or, yeah. She's
what
like, as long as I'm a part of this.
Right, that's the bad guy.
Right.
But every time one of these movies begins to make some degree of sense, and you start to think that in the context of the movie they might be on the right side, we have to get something either so gross or so stupid that I can't help to think, fuck these people.
What was your trigger this time?
Dana Loesch. Or Lash, maybe Lash. The point is, she's garbage. And it's hard, even if she is correct, if she says something to me and it's completely correct, I'm still like, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah, I don't care what you have to say. Die in a fire.
It's so hard. In the most recent Parkland thing, she was the one, remember all the horrible things you heard coming out?
Yes.
She was the one who said most of those.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Again, the victim blaming. Put sheets over all the children.
Right.
So they can't, yeah.
It's whatever. Back at home, Pierce and Dave bond over cutting down a tree, and he asks Pierce if he even really believes in what they're fighting for. And Pierce says that he doesn't on a philosophical level, but at least the law is on their side. And Pierce doesn't really see the need to believe in it to fight for his little brother.
Right, because he's logical. He's really rational.
Yeah. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need to believe it for it to be...
I'm smart.
Yeah, correct.
You're stupid.
And you're my little brother, and I don't like seeing people push you around.
Yeah. It's cute.
Which is cute. So it's some combination of the laws on their side. He is helping his little brother out. And he doesn't see the need to necessarily agree to do something. Which is very lawyer of him.
Yeah. It's his job.
It's his job. Keaton watches the newsboys talk about some random bullshit. And this inspires her to go find Adam and console him a little bit. They sort of cuddle up together. And, I don't know, exchange smoochies a little bit. That happened here?
I don't know.
Happened at some point. Meg, the homeless shelter woman, and Dave's new boo thing, has dinner with the brothers, as the president of the university, who tries to force Dave out of his church, has a brick thrown through his window, because the media strategy is working in riling people up.
Yeah.
This motivates the president to come to Dave's house and start a physical fight. So now we're getting extra dramatic.
Yes.
It's like, you had somebody come to my house, and he punches him in the face.
Yeah.
Dave holds his own.
I guess.
He punched him back.
He did, yeah.
He did get him, and then his brother came and, like...
They engage in fisticuffs
yeah,
over nothing.
At that point, it's 2-on-1, so President leaves. But he wasn't losing that fight. He had gotten ambushed and was just surprised.
And president of the university had no business doing any of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's going to be another fight later, and the president's going to be like, ha ha, he done started a fight. And it's like, bitch, what? You went to his house.
Just did that.
2 nights ago. You went to this man's house. The next day, Josh, from the first movie, and Pierce talk legal strategy. And they talk to Josh about why he quit law school. He initially intended to study civil rights and social justice, just like Pierce does, but eventually realized that he was needed more as a religious figure on college campuses, presumably for his Harbor House youth ministry he's working on. He then claims that Christianity is the foundation for all social justice, and Jesus was the ultimate social justice warrior, because all humans are made in the image of God, which necessitates that Christians defend their fellow people, regardless of what they
Sure wish anybody did that.
I know, and this is another example. Something has happened.
Yeah. You're right.
Because this would not make any sense in any of the previous 2 movies, nor any of the movies we've seen thus far.
I know, it's true. I don't think David A.R. has as much say as we think he does, maybe. And like, I don't even think he's against necessarily this. Like, he just wants to be in movies. I think he just wants attention and money. So mostly, like, this is a completely different writing team and a completely different director. This was their point of view. I can get behind it.
That's definitely possible.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe because David A.R. White is a very important player in the Pure Flix. Like, he founded the place.
Right.
So, but like, I have to think...
I feel like he's just an actor in this, and he runs the fucking, like, Pure Flix company, right? He's like a CEO.
Right.
So, he's got other stuff going on.
That's true. I don't know. Something happened.
Something happened.
People got their heads screwed on right, and that's good.
Yeah.
Because, again, like you said, I wish that Christians thought like this.
Me too. Yeah.
Because they don't.
Yeah.
But this movie...
Well, some do. Let's not say all Christians.
Right. Obviously, when I say they don't, I don't mean everyone.
Right. But, yeah, the ones that we've been dealing with.
Yeah. And so it's just strange to see multiple instances where they turn the message of these movies just on its head. Mm-hmm. Be like, no, we have been the assholes. We're trying to fix that.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's great.
Hey, if that's what we're going for, if that's what all the movies we watch going forward are, I am in.
Me too.
It's not. But I would be in.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Pierce manages to get the lawsuit advanced to an actual court case. They pass the test, whatever you call it. And Dave finds it very hard to be happy about it because he's suing his friend, the president of the university. Sometime later, Dave gets an anonymous text telling him that Adam is the one who started the fire, and he tracks down Adam outside one of his classes, and he
pushes him
to the ground. He says, "You killed my friend, and I'm going to kill you." He doesn't say that, but he's just very upset.
Yeah.
I think reasonably
upset, but he's also like a grown man attacking a student,
which is 100%
on campus,
which is 100% the case, and not okay. But it's not like he didn't even do anything particularly strange. He was just really pissed.
He got physical,
which is not okay.
Yeah,
but he didn't like stab him.
You're right.
Or go to his house.
It's okay. Yes, he did not murder the kid.
No, I'm just saying.
It could have been worse.
It's you can literally murder people in a moment of passion, and it's a reasonable defense in a court of law.
Yeah.
So pushing a kid down because he killed your best friend, because he doesn't know it's an accident at this point.
Yeah, he thinks it was on purpose.
Right. He thought he started a fire.
Right.
So killing his best friend and just finding that out and being like, "Son of a bitch," and pushing him is...
It's reasonable.
It's not reasonable, but it's understandable.
It's understandable, you're right.
Like, you would do that too, I think.
I don't know.
Maybe?
I have no idea what I would do.
You know, my cat scratches me, I pop him on his head.
Yeah.
He's okay. Just 2 fingers. Tap! Stop it!
Yeah. I tend to use my words.
Yeah.
I'm also 5'3" and can't really do much
There
physically.
is the big difference here.
Yeah, I don't consider myself a threat physically.
Yeah, that's fair. It's different when you're
You have the ability to push somebody over.
Yeah. I could see it happening easily.
Yeah.
I tend to take bad news pretty well, so it may not be me, but I could see the argument for just like, I was just mad.
Yeah.
And I pushed a kid.
Yeah.
You're right. It's not okay.
I do lash out verbally.
Right.
Yeah.
We all use our power however we feel we need to in the moment. Adam gets arrested for the church arson, as expected.
Right.
And all of his friends are very upset about it, and they organize a protest at the church on a Friday night. Particularly the Mandela effect guy.
Yeah.
He's the one who's most passionate about it. Tatum O'Neal, one of her 4 lines in the movie, is saying that Dave did the school a favor by attacking Adam because it makes him look worse and makes the case against the church as a beacon of violence and controversy even stronger.
Stupid.
She's like, he did us a favor. I'm going to send him a fruit basket. Which, again, is one of those lines that actually works in a movie.
It does, yeah. It does.
Now, Janine fucking Pirro is one of our esteemed media personalities.
I love that you know these people. I have no idea who that is
I am way too immersed in politics. Janine Pirro is a legitimately insane person.
When did you get involved in politics? You used to avoid politics.
I don't know.
Well, like, recently.
Like involved, like, I don't do a lot of activism. I just keep track.
Okay, gotcha.
Tabs. I just keep tabs.
Gotcha.
But Janine Pirro is a legit crazy person. She is... You know those people who are like, Trump's being investigated by the FBI. That's bad. She's Trump's being investigated by the FBI. Let's arrest the FBI.
Okay. Super duper.
She doesn't understand the rules of society.
Right.
Or, you know, maybe let's not kill the police.
Yeah.
Like, you won't find me, being a big on the police side. But let's not kill them.
But they don't need to die. Yeah,
we don't need to shoot the FBI. I would strongly advocate against that.
Yeah, some of them have training.
They will win, too.
They'll get you.
But it's just,
they can also hear you saying that.
Yeah, she's a horrible person.
Yeah.
And an insane right-winger. And it's just like, why are all of the people who are sympathetic in this movie that we're supposed to be on the side of gotta be horrible people?
Well, it does. I mean, there it is.
We could just make them up. Why can't we just make some up? Like, hey, you're here on the...
Because they do want to make sure that we do know where they stand, ultimately, despite this actually bringing up good conversations and having a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, let's be clear. We are...
awful.
We are understanding that we have some changes we need to make.
Yes.
We're still awful.
We're still terrible.
Or at least have awful allies.
Right. Same thing.
Keaton goes to Josh Wheaton and talks about her doubts and uncertainty about the religion and Jesus and all that sort of stuff. And he assures her that her doubts are good because doubt leads to the truth. So Pierce then tries to talk to Dave about his reaction of attacking the student. And Dave gets super pissed and he goes off on a rant about what a mess he is and how Pierce must be really enjoying watching him self-destruct. And Pierce gets pretty annoyed at that, and he throws his keys at Dave, the keys to the car, because they were out at a cafe.
He just dropped them.
Yeah, he dropped them. He throws them on the ground.
Yeah.
He's like, get him yourself. And he walks home. Keaton struggles with her faith. Dave goes to visit Jude's family's church again. And here, he tells the pastor about how tired he is of turning the other cheek. Sometimes Christians should fight for what's right. And the preacher of this church, who is a black guy, this is going to be relevant, warns him about his pride and tells him that Jesus didn't have that. He was meek with the weak. And I don't remember what he said. Some line.
Yeah.
Jesus was chiller than you, and you need to not have so much pride, and sometimes you just turn the other cheek, like he says in the book.
Right.
And Dave says the stupidest thing
Oh my God.
that he's ever thought, and he says, maybe you'd feel different if you were the one being attacked. And the other preacher gets a little black in him for a second.
Well, and to the credit of the writers, this
it's the best line that's ever happened.
Line that's ever happened.
Any of the movies we've seen.
Yes, agreed.
Not just these, any of them.
Yeah.
It may be the best forever.
Yes.
But he turns up his blackness a little bit. He goes, brother, who do you think you're talking to? I'm a black preacher in the deep South. I could build you a church with the bricks that have been thrown through my windows.
David a little pouty.
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, I guess
like,
you're right.
It's like, damn, you're right. Sorry. And you have to at least respect the writers of the movie for calling out their main character.
100%. I was so stoked on that.
Because he got called out directly to his face for his own stupid privileges. And he's still upset, but this did help him calm down.
Yeah. I like that he acknowledged that, you're right.
Yeah. I could build you a church with all the windows that's been thrown through my windows is a great line.
Bricks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
It's a great line.
So, homeless shelter Meg invites Dave on another date, and he meets her in the forest, and she reminds him that Jesus is here for him, just like she is, and that he is loved. The thing that's weirdest for me to think about these movies is Dave is a preacher, and presumably a very devout man. He's also in his 40s. Mm-hmm. And in the context of this movie, he's a virgin.
What?
He has to be. That's the rules. He hasn't been married as far as we know.
No, everybody knows how they, that's not a thing.
I know, but, if we're supposed to believe that he is on the up and up.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the first woman that he might have a shot with.
Well, his boyfriend died.
Yeah, there's that too. His boyfriend did die, so... he's trying to move on. Mm-hmm. Because that's what Jude would want. Yeah. He'd want me to be happy. But I don't know. I remember thinking in the moment, that's just a weird thing to think about.
Yeah, if it was actually that kind
If it were actually the case.
Right.
And anybody actually did that.
Right.
But it's just one of those.
Even priests don't do that.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Oh, I know. But it's just, I don't know. It was just one of those things I remember thinking. This is a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
But whatever. We don't know. I don't care.
Could explain his whininess.
His general awfulness.
Yeah.
Back at home, Pierce is planning on leaving. And he tells Dave that he set him up with a different attorney, but he's going to head back to, I think he's from Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago.
And Dave is upset that Pierce is bailing because he accuses him of always bailing. And Pierce calls him out for always blaming him. It's like, you're going to blame me? This is my fault? I come here. I help you.
Yeah.
This is my fault.
Yeah.
And Pierce claims that he wasn't welcome in the family at all after he started asking tough questions. And Dave says, oh yeah, tough questions, really? Tough questions? Like, why does God allow bad things to happen to good people? And how do we really even know God exists?
Yes.
That's what Dave. I said. And yes, those are tough questions. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd have an answer besides just saying, oh, this is your question? Huh? And it's not just the movie. The movie doesn't necessarily have to have answered the question to say it's a bad question.
Right.
But someone in the entire world through all of human history should have had an answer that's not bad.
Right.
And it hasn't happened yet.
Correct. We can't know.
So, yes, they're tough questions. Questions that don't have answers.
Right.
Are tough questions.
Especially if, and they're tough emotionally for somebody who had a belief that they're
yes.
Yeah, that they're questioning.
Yeah. They're not even the toughest questions, to be fair.
No.
But if they were so easy, literally anyone, ever, would have had an answer that actually answers the question.
Well, he believes he has the answer.
Yeah, it's just not, it's bad as everyone else's.
I know.
I don't need to know what it is.
I know. Well, no, the Christian answer.
Oh, I know.
Everything's
magic. They covered this in the first movie.
Yeah.
Why does bad free will? That's why hurricanes happen.
Yep.
If Eve didn't eat that fruit, hurricanes wouldn't exist.
Women are the worst.
It doesn't even make sense.
No, none of it makes sense. It's whatever.
So, I know, it's just one of those, I was like, yeah, those are tough,
Yes. You're making his point.
Yeah, you're only helping him.
Yes, exactly.
But Dave accuses Pierce of abandoning his faith to impress a co-ed or something, and leaving him to care for their sick parents while not considering what Dave was going through. And in another example of Dave being completely self-centered, Pierce points out that no one cared what he was going through either. And he was trying to come to terms with his faith, and he was asking questions and trying to figure it out on his own.
Yeah.
And instead of embracing him or helping him, everyone hated him for it instead.
Yeah.
And drove him away. Which is why he left.
Makes sense.
It makes good sense.
Yeah.
Percy's like, yeah, I was trying to deal with some stuff, and everyone turned against me.
Yeah.
So what the fuck choice did I have but to leave? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Dave doesn't respond. He's just like, oh, damn.
Yeah. He's like,
this is on me.
I've been wrong all day.
I have been right maybe my whole life.
Yep.
Maybe I should be an atheist. Now they didn't go that far.
I wish.
I wish.
Oh, man, if that's how this whole series ended up, it made my whole life.
God's not dead for.
God
Oops, yes, he is.
God's not dead for. Maybe. God's maybe dead.
So we do a little montage of people going through their stuff. Dave is exercising. Keaton is visiting Adam in prison. And both of them try to deal with the horrible shit that they're all going through. And Dave ends up in the burnt remnant of his church and asks God what he's doing wrong. We don't see the answer, but he did get one, and we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. Keaton goes to Dave's house and tells him that Adam threw the brick because he was fed up with being judged by the people who are supposed to love him the most, and that everyone knows what the church is against, but it's getting harder and harder to tell what it stands for. Another example of the writers of this movie getting it.
Getting it. Exactly right. They talk about people of this generation pulling away from organized religion, which is real.
Yeah.
And the why, which is true.
Exactly this.
Yeah.
Well, not exactly this, but it's a definite element.
Yeah, one of the many reasons. Yeah.
Also the fact that it's just not true.
It's just not true, yeah.
But that's fine.
Whatever.
This motivates Pastor Dave to go visit Adam in prison. And Adam confesses that he sent the text himself, saying that he did it. And he was hoping that Dave might forgive him. Dave gives him Jude's Bible, and Adam apologizes profusely. And then the next scene, Dave and the president of the university are meeting, and he tells him that he's decided to plead for leniency for Adam, and that the student should not be collateral damage in their fight about the church. And along with the protests and everything else that's been going on, Dave confesses that everything has gone too far, and he's sorry for his part in it. And the president returns the sentiment. So it's finally like a reconciliation.
Yeah.
Like, I've gone too far. Hey, me too.
Sorry I gave you black eye.
I attacked you at your house.
Yeah.
That's, on me.
Yeah. My bad.
My bad. But then they ask about what's going to happen at the church, because it's Friday night, and that's the night of the big protests that the Mandela Effect kid was organizing. Mm-hmm. And we then cut to that protest, and Dave and the president address the dueling crowds. One is on the side of the church, obviously. The other is against it. Dave asks all of them for forgiveness and tells him that God spoke to him when he was in the burnt church.
Yeah.
And told him that this building is not his church, and that he's dropping the lawsuit against his school and the charges against Adam. And the new student center that they're going to build in his space is going to have space for the Harbor House, Josh Wheaton's ministry, inside of it, alongside a bunch of other cool stuff for the kids. And Dave is just going to build a new church off the campus. He asks everyone to put down their signs and stop shouting at each other. Then it's a little moment of reconciliation for everyone.
Sounds fine, except for I'm the only thing that bothered me was I would be protesting on his side because there's no reason they should be tearing down a historical church. I'm into history.
Yeah.
And architecture. It was a pretty church. And it was old.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm on his side to just stay. It's fine, you can stay. But if he chooses to leave, I'd be okay, well, that's your choice, I guess.
Or at least just leave the church the way it is and use it for something else. You can do that. Don't tear down a historical church.
Yeah. I mean, it's already ruined, so...
No, it's not. Yeah. It was mostly brick,
You're right,
it's just brick. Like some of the wood.
Have to fix everything on the inside.
Yeah.
That's fair. They may not burn it. They may not destroy it. They may just take the...
Yeah, that's what they were always talking about, though.
Yeah.
It's like
it might have been more, like, symbolic.
Maybe, you're right.
Like, because we're kicking them off anyway, maybe it'll tear everything down.
Well, in that case, this is wrapped up with a little bow and everything's fine.
I don't know their plan. I don't really care at this point.
Yeah.
Dave is conceding, and he's going to move his church. And yeah, like you said, it's a wrapped up little bow. He has a new plan, and everyone gets a candle, and they all light them, and they now stand together instead of against each other. And it's so very heartwarming, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Although, that's sarcasm, but in truth, it is a much better ending than any of these stupid movies have had so far.
Yeah, these candles didn't have those little, paper things around them, though, so everybody's hands were going to get burned.
And I just have to think something happened where the people in this movie decided to make a movie where they dropped the persecution complex and grade school apologetics and instead focus on a message of unity and forgiveness, Christian stuff.
Real Christian stuff.
So I was like, this is so fucking weird. I'm not against it, it's just odd.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do with it. Unexpected.
Except, again, we get Janine Pirro as the one who gets to wrap up on that message. And I'm just like, son of a bitch!
So these people are like it's like the Duck Dynasty cameo in the last one.
Except the Duck Dynasty people aren't actively horrible people.
They might be.
They might be. I don't know enough about them.
I don't know them.
They hunt ducks.
My dad ran into one of them at the airport. That's,
Is he fine?
I mean, he didn't talk to him or anything.
Okay.
He was just in the fancy Delta suites or whatever it's called.
Like, they seem like they're just... I've heard stories that it's really just all an act and they're like fancy golf club.
Kind of like half the guys in the Blue Comedy Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't care about that. As long as they're not active pieces of shit, whatever.
Right.
Do what you want. Janine Pirro is a horrible person.
Cool.
So, it's just like, she does not get to be the one in this movie. She's like, the pastor has become a symbol of unity and forgiveness. It's like, fuck you!
Take note!
Yeah, take note, you son of a bitch. God.
Ugh.
Alright. But even Adam's friend who organized the big protest, the Mandela Effect dude, admits that Pastor Dave must be legit because he was there and he doesn't think it was just a publicity stunt. Pierce calls Dave and tells him that he's proud of him. Adam's released from prison, and Dave breaks ground on the site for his new church. With Josh now, Dave does the God is good all the time, and all the time God is good thing. And Keaton voiceovers and says that she can hear God's voice again. And finally, God's not dead. But at least this time it doesn't end in a Christian winning some so-called victory in a philosophy class or a court, but it's actually about exemplifying the values that Christians are supposed to have in the first place.
Yes!
So that's great, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't change at all the truth of the matter, but it's way less absurd than these movies have been, and I can kind of get on board with this one.
Yeah, I consider this a positive.
It's a positive ending.
Yeah.
It's a positive movie, and it's not something that's really, really stupid and annoying.
Right.
And you don't beat a philosophy class, a professor in his class, and then gets hit by a car in an act of mercy. Yeah,
Fuck you,
that's
Kevin
right.
Sorbo.
The first movie ends with God murdering a man.
Yeah. But gave him enough time.
But giving him enough time to be like, hey, you want to convert? Because I'm going to burn you in hell otherwise.
We got a few minutes. Yeah.
God. And Jude wasn't around to make a horrible, disgusting claim like that this time. I guess we all got.
I was gonna say maybe this whole thing is karma.
Jude was like,
Jude died because he celebrated the death of a man in episode 1.
And lastly, when I was searching through the credits for possible court cases or anything this was based on, I noticed that there's a post-credit scene where the Newsboys guy, the main guy,
the talker,
comes back and tells us once again to send a God's not dead message to everyone that we know. They put it at the very end of the movie, so no one saw this, but still fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Don't send me that.
Why are the Newsboys, like, they were part of every single one of these
They just like
movies.
these movies, I guess. They did have that song, which they apparently made before any of the movies. So.
They have a song called God's Not Dead? Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
It's the song in the first movie. God's not dead, he's surely alive.
Oh, that's right.
Living
oh my
on
god,
the
I blocked
inside,
that out.
roaring like a lion.
Oh, so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they're
That's
so bad.
their song.
Okay, cool. Well, that explains a lot.
Mm-hmm. So, before we close out, final thoughts on this movie. I think we've covered most of them, but there's got to be something.
I was surprised, pleasantly surprised for the most part. Yeah, and you had given me the idea that was the way it was going to be beforehand.
That's true.
Yeah,
because you were not looking forward to watch this movie.
No, I was not, and I still would like the time back. But
right, but it's not as though we enjoyed it.
Right, exactly.
But it was like you said earlier. It's a very hard left turn.
Yeah,
in a good way.
Exactly.
Because I can get on board with this.
I can get on board with this. I'm like, I feel like if people are only allowed, like, if there are people out there, which there are, who only indulge in, like, Christian family, quote unquote, based media, this is one that will actually spark a conversation or help people think and see other people's point of view.
Right.
Instead of just assuming that the rest of the world is against you. Yeah.
In fact, Pierce says during their big argument with his brother, it's like, at least I know what the world is like 5 minutes outside the county line.
Yeah, no, it's true. And that's a good point. And like, Dave said something back to that where he was like, well, like, I can't remember what he said.
I think that was when he said,
he doesn't
stayed
contest
here
it.
and knows what happened here.
Right.
Because he sidestepped the point.
He sidestepped it, but he also didn't, he didn't contest it.
Right. Because he was like, I was here with our parents. I don't know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an answer to what I said.
You still haven't left this fucking county.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't have to leave to know stuff about how people work. And
right,
think
that's what the internet's for.
That's what the internet's for. Get some internet in bumfuck Virginia. I don't know where they are.
Probably bumfuck.
Yeah.
Well, somewhere in the South.
You did? They're in the Deep South, we know that.
The Deep South.
But yeah, if Christian movies are headed in this direction, and they're not, but if they were,
yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm still not going to probably enjoy them because they still have to be good.
Right.
But at least they don't have toxic messages.
True.
This is not a toxic message
It's
in
not
really any way.
You're right. That's
There's
a
nothing
good way to put it.
terribly objectionable about the film itself. Except for some of the people they choose to.
And, the unbelievable conflict
And
at
the
root of it.
yeah.
Yeah. The core of all of these movies is an unbelievable situation.
Right.
But aside from that, yeah.
It's just fine.
And yay, John Corbett.
Yay, John Corbett. So, we're going to do the best and the worst.
John Corbett.
Excellent. My best is obviously the Black Preacher's line.
Yes. Okay. Totally.
It's so good.
It's perfect.
He doesn't even have that many lines. And just that one.
That's the only scene he's in, right?
Yeah, it's the only scene he's in.
Yeah.
Well, he preached a couple times.
Oh, okay.
Like, he was at the funeral and he was...
Right.
And they did a scene earlier where he was at the church. But, yeah, it's just that one line by itself is better than anything that's been written in a Christian movies before.
Ever.
And probably since.
Yeah.
And probably forever. What is the worst?
The worst is having to see David A.R. White's face on screen again. I hate him.
You're going to have to get used to it.
I fucking hate him.
He's made at least 50 movies.
Groovy.
The worst for me is Dana Lash and Janine Pirro being the goddamn paragons of the right side. Fuck those people. Fuck them so much.
Yes.
God, I hate them both.
I hate them with you. For you.
They're just so bad, and it's so annoying to see them as the good guys. They're not good
they
guys.
Really believe that
they're bad people.
It's hard. I don't understand how people who are so blatantly terrible
Yeah.
could even come up with something in their head to make them think that they're right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that is. Is it a mental health issue? Is it...
It's just people being people, man.
It's a disorder?
Yeah, because everyone thinks they're the good guy.
Yeah.
And some people are just horrible, and they don't seem to realize it. And I struggle with it.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't either. I don't.
But that's all. It's a relatively minor point because they're not even major characters. But fuck them.
No, but their presence, it makes a statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so now it's time to talk about next week.
Are you texting me?
No, I have it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Bam.
Why is it so DVD?
There's a DVD and it has video.
Shut your whore mouth. This is Wow Hits 2007. 30 of the year's top Christian artists and music video hits. Oh, the fact that there's a music video element. Mm-hmm. Really, really. Probably Brian Luttrell is on here.
Yes, a Backstreet Boy is there.
I told you I know the girl he married, right?
No.
It's random. Random.
I have already seen some of these. But yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a music video version of a normal Wow Hits CD.
Yes.
So now we get the visual component alongside the audio.
Where were you in 2007?
In college. Macon.
Right on. Where was I in 2007? I think I might have been living out of my car.
Nice.
No, I was not there yet. I was, I believe, working at Ted's Montana Grill, potentially. Mm-hmm. Miserable. In a different way.
In a different way.
Yeah.
But because we have the two versions, the audio and the video now, we're layered now.
This is great.
We're layered, people. Got layers. We're deep like a casserole.
I fucking love casseroles. That came up recently. My deep love of casseroles. I love anything where every bite tastes the same as all the other bites. Chopped salads.
So yeah, so get excited. That's the thing I got.
Did you already watch it?
I've seen some of it.
I actually genuinely look forward to this.
Good.
Yeah, there should be some laughter.
I've seen enough of it so far that I can confirm there is some laughter.
Oh, good. I wish there was a VeggieTales on here. There's not.
Yeah, it doesn't appear so.
Boo.
And remember, if you like the show, please give us some of those 5-star reviews on whatever podcast app or service you are using. And tell your friends about us any way that you can, because we need you to do that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Links to everything are in the description of this episode. That includes our social media and our website. And you can go to that website and send us a comment or a question so that we can have a mailbag segment. Anything. You can yell at me. Just troll me for days. Tell me about how Dana Lash is a true American hero. I will fight you on air.
I was going to say, oh, please don't. But
don't. I'd rather you didn't.
Don't.
But if you feel like you have to say it, you're wrong.
Out yourself.
Out yourself. As always, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.